Hello, 'tis the season. It's still Midge season. This is Midge season part 2. So in this video, I'm going to tie the second of a couple of Midge patterns that were very productive for me, especially when the water's low and clear, kind of in winter time. You can see my Midge box there. I have a little bit of everything. Like to experiment. Some are more productive than others. Some are easier to tie. So I'm going to do this again on a Daiichi 1120 size 20 hook, short shanked and small fly, but still has a good bite and some good thickness to the hook. Using Sulky silver tinsel or pearl tinsel. We'll also use red thread and a little Sow-Scud dubbing to finish things off. Um, we have a hook in the vise. We'll get the thread started and get a good base. And I'm going to stop there because this is where I want to tie in a piece of copper wire. This little trick I've done in various forms to attach a glass bead or a small bead to a hook. That way the bead sits on top, and you'll see it here in a second. So we'll get the wire started, leave an inch or so, stick over the front of the hook, get a few wraps to hold it down. And then off camera, I've slipped a little glass bead on the right side on the other end of the wire here. I'm going to go around a turn or two and kind of leave the short stub sticking straight up. So you see that bead slide into view, and I'll lift the longer piece of wire up. Now the trick here is to get them lined up and get both ends of the wire, both strands of the wire through the hole. And it's probably not as hard as I made it look there. And then here we're going to get a wrap or two of thread behind the glass. I'll have to give my bobbin a spin here and have the thread jump back, and we'll get a couple of wraps behind. And then the idea here is to get that bead to kind of stand up on its edge, on its outer surface, and then get a few more wraps to hold things in place. Doesn't hurt to put a wrap or two around, kind of a posting wrap, if you will. And when I feel I have enough wraps to kind of hold everything in place and keep it from spinning around the hook, we'll come to the back side and come in and trim off the excess wire. So on larger flies, if you're using the wire for a rib, you can leave the long piece there and wrap it all the way to the back and then come forward with it as a rib. So just a little footnote there. So we'll tie in our piece of sulky and wrap down around the bend a little ways. And on the way back forward, we just want to fill in any low spots and kind of smooth things up. Use our material clip again. Handle that sulky that wants to curl up. And then here I didn't do a half hitch or a whip finish because the bead will keep the thread from wanting to jump around and unwind as we use the rotary feature of the vise. So a little super glue underneath the sulky again. And we'll get a hold of it and do butting turns toward the front up behind the glass bead, the bubble. And get things out of the way, and we'll get a wrap or two to hold the sulky in place. Again, dodging the camera, and I had a wrap on that sulky before it got away from me, so things are still good. And we'll trim off the excess. Now basically I'm just going to use a little of that Sow-Scud dubbing and wrap in front of and behind that bead, that bubble, and make a little thorax. And that's pretty much it. So if you notice I turned the vise there, that the idea is if you leave it in its regular position, you see it slips down over the front. So if you turn the vise, use the rotary feature, or maybe park it sideways, it's a little easier, or prevents that your wraps from slipping forward. So I kind of do it as second nature now, but I saw it and I wanted to point it out. So I'll come in and do a 4 or 5 turn whip finish. And trim the thread off and drop a head cement, and we'll call this one done. So I'm not sure if they take this for a midge, an emerger, a wayward tiny egg pattern. All I know is it's pretty effective. And there's not much to it, and you can fill a box with these in a hurry. And so thanks for watching to the end, and if you want to learn more about me, look me up on Amazon.